Christine and I have come to know over the years, just love them, Rebecca and Joe Carrier. And they've had some wonderful, wonderful results on these products. So, Rebecca, if you would come in and just share your story.
Be happy to, Cliff. Thank you. My name is Rebecca Carrier. I'm a 63-year-old retired educator, and we do live in the mountains of North Carolina above the little town of Newland. And right now, there's lots of snow on the ground here. My story actually begins way back at the beginning of my birth, 63 years ago. Had issues with my sinuses, and I quickly developed allergies, but I also hurt in my joints and my muscles all of my life. It was later determined that the joint pain was from arthritis and that the muscular pain was from fibromyalgia. In 1998, I contracted a neuromuscular and autoimmune disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And for me, this turned my body into like a bowl of Jell-O overnight. I was just like a little wet noodle, and I had continuous running nerve pain from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. And it would start over, and it made everything else worse that I was already dealing with. For 5 years, I dealt with that. We thought I was getting better. Then I had a turn for the worse, and we started really praying hard for an answer and looking everywhere for an answer, and someone introduced us to Relive, and that changed our lives. Today, I no longer need a cane to stand, to walk, and keep my balance. I can actually wear socks and shoes again. I couldn't do that for 5 years because of the nerve pain in my feet. And I also, along the way, lost 90 pounds, 58 inches. I've had many, many other results along the way. I no longer take medication for allergies or pain. I think I was on over 50 medications when we started on Relive. Today, I'm on only 2 of those. It's just been wonderful, and recently it's just been brought back to me just how important Relive is to me. I had a bad fall in December that caused me to have a concussion because I hit my head several times before landing on a tile floor. And from that, I developed seizures. And I was in the hospital the first time a little over a day, and I had nothing to eat or drink while I was there. And by the time I got home, I was shaking, I was hurting, everything, because it had been a little over a day since I'd had any of my Relive shakes. And within 15 minutes of taking my first shake, the pain was going away. I had developed major sores in my mouth. Those were starting to ease up immediately. And it was just amazing how quickly everything came back to me. And it was a great reminder of what these past 11 years have brought to me and how different my life is today than the way it was before. And we just are amazed over and over again at all the wonderful things that we can share with other people about how great these products are. Cliff, you want me to go ahead and just hand it over to Joe?
Yeah, that would be great. Yes, thanks, Rebecca.
Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Carrier, and I am also a retired school teacher and 63 years old. Prior to Relive, I had dealt with acid reflux and high blood pressure. And then in October of 2003, a routine physical indicated from the blood work that I was a type 2 diabetic, had very high triglycerides and very high cholesterol. And I convinced the doctor to hold off on anything right away because I don't do well with medications. And fortunately, when I went back for a follow-up visit, about 2 months later, I'd been on the products for 17 days. And when they did additional blood work, my sugars had leveled back down, and my triglycerides and cholesterol had dropped immensely, and I did not have to take medication at that time. Also noticed I did not have the urge to, I just get real tired. I taught school around 2 o'clock. I'd have what I call a lag time, and I realized I didn't have to go home and take a nap before I went to my other job. So I was able to have some more time to do things and just felt better. My stamina was stronger, and I just felt good. And it was about 3 weeks later, it dawned on me that I had not had a migraine. I suffered with migraines for over 27 years, as many as 2 to 5 a month, and I have not had a migraine headache since my first Relive shake. And I always tell people the blood work results are great, But when you don't feel the pain from a migraine and the follow-through after the migraine, it is just really wonderful how it does, that the products would help that. In 1997, I had cataract surgery in my left eye, and I was told I'd always have scar tissue. And each year the doctor keeps telling me when I do my follow-up visits that my scar tissue is dissipating and the cataract in my right eye that they had been monitoring is completely gone. I continue to improve with my stamina and my well-being. I just feel better. I have more energy, and I'm very grateful for what the products have done for me.
Well, you guys have just gotten some wonderful, wonderful results, and I want to thank you all for sharing with us tonight, okay?
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go down to the warm country, down to Florida, and we're going to talk with Ellen Costigan. So, Ellen, if you'll come in and share your story with us.
I'd be happy to. I'm here in Pensacola, and I hate to tell you, but it's not so warm here today. But it's a lot warmer than Chicago. Anyway, I have been consuming Relive since January of 1993. So if you do the math, that's over 20 years. Initially, I got results with migraine headaches, with my energy. I was sleeping better. I was working in the school district in Champaign, Illinois at the time, and it was the first year that I wasn't sick that winter. As the months went on, I realized that a vision problem that I'd had for years was starting to resolve itself. My tennis elbow went away, and I just continued to enjoy a level of wellness that I never had before. I'm going to be 68 next month, and I don't take any medication. I don't have any of the symptoms that I used to have. I'm on a competitive sailboat racing team here in Pensacola with kids that are young enough to be my granddaughter, some of them, and they're just amazed at how well Miss Ellen gets around that boat. So I'll always be thankful to Relive for giving me the wellness that I have.
Wow, competitive sailboating. Wow, that must be exciting. Wow.
It is. It's very exciting.
Great. Ellen, thanks for taking your time to share with us tonight.
My
you
pleasure.
You have a good story, and at 68, great results. Thanks a lot.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going to travel out to Kansas, and we're going to meet Debbie Sefkinky, and we're looking forward to hearing her story. So, Debbie, if you'll come on in and share.
Thank you, Cliff. My name is Debbie Schnepke.
Was I close on your last name?
Yes, you did very good, Schnepke. Great.
Okay, great. Good to have you.
Well, thank you. I do live in Shawnee, Kansas, and I've been on the products for 12-plus years, and actually my husband brought the products home because he thought there had to be a better way for me to live. I have a connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and during my life I've had 2 knee surgeries, and by the time after having 4 sons, life wasn't really good for me at that time. I had dislocated, you name it. The worst was my shoulder. Reached out for a napkin at a picnic, and my shoulder went. So I was struggling with a lot of pain. There was nothing that the doctors could do except take pain medication. And my prognosis for aging gracefully was not there, and things were going to get worse as I got older. So I started taking these products, and I also had a colitis, which is a digestive issue, and that's the first thing I noticed that had really changed for me, and that encouraged me. 3 months on these products, and one of my kids at that time said to me, "Mom, you laugh so much more than you ever used to." And that was very convicting because it made me realize that the pain was starting to go away, and I was starting to feel better. So today I'm 98% pain-free. I'm 60 years old. Doesn't mean that I don't have this condition. It's genetic. So the thing is my kids are all grown, so I don't have all the strains physically on my body that I used to. But I do have to watch what I do. 3 years ago, I took a fall in my foyer. My shoes were wet. I was on tile, and I put down my left foot to plant it to stop the fall, dislocated my femur from my tibia. The dislocation caused me to break the top of my tibia plateau. And while that was healing, I ended up with a blood clot. And 2 weeks after we found out I had the blood clot, I was admitted into emergency. They thought I had a suspicion of a pulmonary embolism. When I got home from that, I will tell you, I was really concerned. And I thought to myself, why am I not doing for myself what I do for everybody else? So I got a hold of some regular distributors who had dealt themselves in their own lives with blood clots. And I did exactly what they told me to do, the recipe. And this blood clot was supposed to be with me 6 months to a year. And by the time I got cleared through the doctors, afterwards it was gone in 3 months. And I was absolutely dumbfounded, and so were the doctors. So it's just been a blessing in our lives. Tell you real quick about 4 sons. Our youngest son is 21. He has a history of head concussions. He's had 7. When he was in high school, they took away his basketball and his soccer. It was devastating to him. We ended up in impact testing, and the scores did not come out good at all. And I had read a lot about what Dr. Carl had said about the kids now, so I came home and I started giving him a lot of it. We went back 2.5 months later, did impact testing again. He went from a 46% to a 98% in his reaction time, and his visual memory went from 51% to 91%, and the doctors were pretty stunned by it. They said, quote unquote, and this is a traumatic brain injury clinic at Children's Hospital, they said to me, "We have never seen anything like this. We know there's children out there like Luke, but we've just never seen it." He went on he couldn't play contact sports, so he went out for track at high school, and it ended up that he went to college running for K-State University. And 2 months into the running, I get a call from the doctor of the track team who told me that he did not pass heart screening, which all athletes go through at universities, and that he had a congenital heart defect. They had a bicuspid heart valve. Well, we brought him home and we took him to the Heart Institute here in Kansas City. Doctor calls me. He wanted to do his own testing. He said he has 2 congenital heart defects. He has a PDA. PDA is a vessel that babies have in the mother's womb, and it shuts down about 36 hours after birth. His never did. So the blood was flowing through his heart in a figure 8 when yours and mine goes in oval shape. But 2 years ago, they had to put a device in to shut the vessel down. Doctors were astounded because this is a pediatric surgery. It's not a surgery for a 20-year-old. And how did he ever make it there doing all these sports? Well, I kind of knew how, because the Relive products just make you the best you can possibly be and under any circumstance. So he's healthy. He's running today on his own, not for the school, but it's just been a blessing, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. We enjoy sharing these products with others.
Well, not only you, but your sons have had some miraculous results on these products. And, wow, what a great story. And I just want to thank you for taking your time to be on the call tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, we're going to go back to North Carolina now, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Linda Norman. Tina and I just love this family. They live close to us, and just going to know them over the years and just love their families. So, Linda, if you'll come in and share with us.
Sure, and we love you too, Cliff. My name is Linda Norman. I am from King, North Carolina. Insurance is my background. Before Relive, I was already taking a lot of supplements because cancer and heart disease both run in my family. I also was suffering from shoulder pain that I'd had for several years, and I was diagnosed when I was around 30 years old with mitral valve prolapse. I also had bronchitis. Every Christmas I had bronchitis and laryngitis, and this was going on, like I said, for a long time, every year. And I thought that I was doing everything right by exercising, and I had a shelf full of supplements that I was taking. I went to the doctor and just for a regular checkup, and when I thought I was in good health, I wasn't in good health at all. My cholesterol levels were high. My blood pressure had started going up, and so I was looking for something else that I could do since I thought I was doing everything right. Well, I was introduced to Relive by someone who thought enough about me to tell me about Relive, and I began taking the Relive supplements mainly because it was just so simple. Instead of taking all of those supplements, just to take a couple of shakes a day. Well, within 3 months, my shoulder pain was gone. I'd gone to the doctor again for another annual checkup, and so a year later, they found out that my mitral valve prolapse is no longer, and so I don't suffer from those palpitations. And moving forward, in 2010, I had a melanoma on my arm. They said that spot had been there for a couple of years, and when I had my surgery for that, they do a biopsy, of course, to make sure they have clear margins. But what they found when I went to see the doctor again, they said, not only did we get it all, but your immune system is just so great that your body was able to contain it to the surface. Also, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in the latter part of 2013. And while I was going through chemotherapy, they did not want me to take any kind of supplements because it protects the bad cells as well as the good cells. However, my numbers stayed up. The doctors were amazed at how well I got along with the chemotherapy and with my numbers staying up. And they said that my immune system was just so great, and that because it had anti-inflammatory products in it, that I did not have the achy bones that usually chemotherapy gives me or gives you. And I just can't say enough about Relive and what it has done for me. And by the way, I haven't had bronchitis since I've started taking the product. In fact, I had my first flu shot the first time that I had the chemotherapy, and they made me take it. But again, I'm just so thankful to be able to share my story with everyone, and I'm just so thankful that someone cared enough to share Relive with me.
Thanks, Linda. Just a great story. And thank you for sharing with us tonight.
You are quite welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, we have one more guest tonight, and it really is indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to welcome Presidential Bronze Ambassador Bob Edmonds to the call tonight. Bob and his wife Nona live down in Georgia. So, Bob, if you'll come in and just share whatever's on your heart tonight.
Sure. Well, hey, Cliff, how are you tonight?
Doing great, Bob. Thank you for being with us.
All right. Well, let me just share my story. Maybe I can throw some things in here that will tie in with what's going on with Relive right now.
Great.
If you want to ask me something afterwards, that's great. But I got involved with Relive 19 years ago, and the reason that I did was that I was looking for a business. At the time, I owned my own business, but I'd become a slave to it. I've got 3 kids. I wasn't seeing my family very much. The big thing, though, I was really looking for a sense of purpose, and I was looking for better cash flow. And, you know, when we get into Relive, we have reasons why we get in, but they usually evolve over time. And I realized later on what I really was looking for. And I think that's what most people want. I wanted personal freedom. I wanted freedom to be able to do the things in my life that I wanted to do. And so, you know, I looked, because I owned my own business for 10 years, and I had no freedom in that. And I looked at about 50 businesses one year because I wanted to find something that would give me what I was looking for. And I wanted to make sure I made the right move because I didn't want to go through this exercise again in 2 more years. And I went to a Relive presentation. I was impressed with the facts of the company, but I was more impressed with the people and the results that they got. When I saw this, I was 48, and I had so much arthritis and joint pain that I couldn't move without something hurting me. I was tired all the time, and I just felt like an old man. And about 3 weeks on these products, I found myself waking up at 6 a.m. I quit drinking coffee all morning long. Then I added about 3 productive hours to my evening. Well, at 6 weeks, all the joint pain started to go away, and by the end of about 4.5 months on this, Cliff, I felt like I was 30 years old again. I mean, I just felt like a young man, and it was great. I'd put my wife on it. She'd gotten great results. And I did what every other distributor did. I put my kids on it, my parents, my brothers and sisters, a bunch of friends. They all got great results. And so I started thinking, I guess this is what I've been looking for, because it worked. It was creating income. I was making $500 to $1,000 a month doing this 10 to 12 hours per week. And, I did that for 3 or 4 months, and then I started to get frustrated because I was still at the same place. Things were not moving forward. And about that time, I went to my first conference, just like the conference we had in Charlotte last week. And, the value of the conferences is that you will learn more at a conference about yourself in the 2 or 3 days than you can in 6 months being out here working on this thing. And when I got there, the key thing that I learned was, number one, I was trying to do this business by myself. I was not using my upline. And number two, I was doing lousy follow-up, almost no follow-up. And when I came back home, I realized, I had to change. I started getting a lot more involved with my upline, who was 1,000 miles away. And, that's how I learned how to do this business, through my upline. And things just started growing. And I just gradually put more effort, more time into this business and less in my other business, so that now, instead of a 2.5-hour drive to work every day, it's 30 seconds because I work out of my house. I have no traffic, no boss, no employees. My wife and I have complete control over our schedule. I mean, we have personal freedom. We've got financial freedom. Our best income month has been right at $15,000 in a month. And the company sent us on almost a dozen trips, most of them outside the continental United States. And what that's done, is it's given us a vision for the future, a realization that, there's something out there that will give you what you're looking for if you're not afraid to work for it, okay? And you've got the right vehicle, which this is. And we'll be doing this for the rest of our life, because it's so rewarding, it's so purposeful, it gives you such a great sense of fulfillment, and that you're doing something that's meaningful, something that has impact on other people's lives. At this conference this past weekend, I know a lot of you, I'm sure a lot of you folks were there, not this, but last week. It was really, you always hear, this is the best conference ever, but it was really good. And I could tell there was definitely a different focus from the corporate side as far as where they're going, what they're looking for, and what they're promoting. And what they're promoting, guys, is this is the best opportunity in the world. Okay? It's we've been on products for a long, long, long time, but it's there's an opportunity that more millionaires will be made in Rita the next 3 to 5 years than there has been in the previous 25. And I believe that's absolutely true. And what I would say is, way too many of us do not have a sense of urgency about this business. And to be successful, this is something we need to really develop. I mean, if you're not urgent, if you don't have a sense of urgency about this, we're going to meander. You're just going to keep doing the same thing you're doing. You're going to be at the same place that you are, and that gets to be old. It's a real simple plan of action, and that is you talk to a couple of people every day. If you talk to a couple of people every day, by the end of the year, you'll be really close to ambassador if you're not way past that. I know we had a couple of people that went ambassador today. They closed out the month. And, there's two things that I can say about them doing this. Number one, they worked. They absolutely worked, okay? And number two, they had a great sense of urgency. They saw where they wanted to go. They wanted to be an ambassador. And the way that it got going was a couple of people in their downline the previous month, a couple, 2 or 3 people hit key director, and they had momentum, and they kept that momentum going. Because, they wanted this thing. That's the whole thing, guys. You got to really want this. It's just not going to fall in your laps. I spent a long time in this business where I just stayed there. We were eternal key directors. I kept thinking, why? Why isn't it moving forward? And, I think the reason that it wasn't was primarily all the challenging things that were going on in my life. I was focused on them. I was focused on too many of the negative things. Instead of something negative comes along, move through it. You've got to guard your mind. If there's nothing else I've learned in this business, it's about what goes into your mind and what comes out of your mouth. And you've got to protect that. And it's a growth process. So that's just something, Cliff, if there's something else we need to talk about, or if that covers the basis pretty good, whatever I can do to help.
A couple of things that I heard you say is that all of us just need to get back to the basics. We need to do our upline, and we need to do good follow-up. Now, I know that you just said that it took you a long time until you figured out what to do. How did you really get your business going, Bob? And to get that income, did that just happen overnight, or what did you do to really get you going in Relive?
Well, it's funny.
How did you get the
business first conference
going?
that I went to.
That's my question. How did you really get the business going?
Well, at the very beginning, I developed a great retail business. It's so easy to move this product. It's easy to move the product. And I had a lot of retail business. But it never developed because I didn't learn what follow-up was. Okay? I did not do proper follow-up. And follow-up is what really creates a long-term business, because that's where people get to really fall in love with Relive if you do follow-up properly, which is really just connecting them with the stories. That's what follow-up is, and doing it regularly in that first month. And that's where they catch the vision for their future. But, my biggest problem, and I learned this at my first conference, was me. Okay? It was me. Like most guys, we wanted to do this thing by ourselves. But it was the frustration that drove me to realize I needed to change something. And the first thing was to change me and to listen, do what my upline said. Okay? Instead of trying to figure out what to do what they said. Okay? Because, the way this thing is structured, nobody makes any money unless they help someone else make money. So, I started doing the right things. Okay? I started, instead of trying to sell product, what I did is I connected them to the story. Big difference. Okay? Instead of selling product, all that I was doing was sharing what this product could do, letting them hear the stories, and then following up with them. And, this business, it doesn't work slow. If you just go with it slow and do a little bit and keep it going, that's fine. But it won't take you anyplace. The only way you can really, every time we've advanced, every time I've seen anybody that really has grown in this business, it's because of a tremendous amount of work and momentum for a short period of time, and then you burst through to the next level. This isn't a slow, gradual process. That'll grind you out. You've got to really create momentum. And then it takes a little while, 60 to 90 days to get some momentum going, in your business. And then, you got to capitalize on that. You can't build this business without momentum.
Right. You not only have a strong business here, but you also have a strong international business, correct?
Yeah. In fact, literally, we're in 8 countries right now.
Wow.
And it all sprang out of a conversation in Atlanta, and then a gal in Atlanta had a friend that lived in London, and, it just started about 7-8 years ago. And they just kept sharing it and sharing it and sharing it. And people from the U.S. went over there to help them and train them and do mat schools and so on and so forth. And, I spend a lot of time on the phone working with people outside of the country. And, one of the things that I've learned is that, Americans, what I've seen is a lot of people that immigrate to another country, they work hard because they want something better in their lives. And, being comfortable in the U.S. can be a challenge because, it's not going to get you up early in the morning or stay up late at night to work on these things. All right, so we've got literally, thousands of people in this business and on these products from all over the world because I hung in there. That's all. I was patient, and I hung in there over a number of years. it's not me. I just hung in there, okay? And I supported those people and, did everything that I could for the right reason, which helped them grow. And that's
taken a long time.
It took me a number of years to really get the focus off of me, and my problems and my financial problems to other people. And that's not something that you can just say, I'm going to do that. It takes time, It took me time, a number of years.
Yeah.
My true motivation is to help them to be successful. It took a long time for me to get the focus off of me.
It took a long time, but it sure is nice now, isn't it?
Now, there's a lot of people that can do a lot quicker than me,
Right.
It just took me, This is a business. What I love about this business, it's about personal growth, right? That's what all the challenges that every one of us face. They are there to help us to grow and become more today than we were yesterday, all right? This business makes you grow or you leave, plain and simple, okay?
Wow.
And so these struggles that we're all going through, it's like, amen, thank you. This is something I can focus on and get through because I know when I get through it, I'll be better for it.
Yeah.
That's why I've been able to help a lot of people because I've already gone through those same challenges like everybody else has been around for a while, okay? Yes. We can help people quickly get through the minefield that we've already walked through.
Oh, wow.
That's why your upline is so important. They got the experience. You don't need to make the same mistakes that they have.
Some good nuggets tonight, and good congratulations on your new ambassador, man. That's just really great. Well,
they don't speak English very well either,
Do what?
They don't speak English very well. It's a second language for them.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. Well, Bob, it's always a pleasure talking with you and listening to the nuggets, and always enjoy the story, and we can learn some things that if we think it's taken a long time, just don't get discouraged. Just talk to more people and keep plugging away. And
I would also say, mat schools are this month. Okay.
Yes.
If you want to do something this year, be at a mat school.
That's going to be in Atlanta, right?
You got to drive 6 hours. Well, the closest one for the guys in Florida is in Atlanta. Okay.
Right.
There's 10 of them around the country.
Right.
You've probably got people that are near some of them. Call them up and tell them, hey, get off your fanny. Go to that mat school.
In North Carolina, it's Atlanta also. That's
right.
Hey, Bob, I really want to thank you for taking your time to be on the call tonight. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and it's always good to see you at conference. And I agree with you.
All righty.
Great conference. So have a great evening.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, that's our call for tonight, and I just want to thank all of our guests for the wonderful stories. Wow. I just enjoy hearing the stories, and that's what Relive is all about, is just sharing the stories. Let me go ahead and stop the recording, and I'll come back and give you that number.